In this episode, we're going to be talking about The Crow. So, Soulmates Eric and Shelly are brutally murdered. Given a chance to save the love of his life, Eric must sacrifice himself and trivialize the world of the living and the dead, seeking revenge. Mm-hmm. So what'd you think?
Short and simple. I wasn't fond of it. I didn't like it. Yeah. I don't know. I liked the fight scene. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, I mean, So I didn't enjoy it too much either. Yeah. But the ending, the fight scene at the end.
Yeah, close to the end.
Like the last 30 minutes.
That was a legit. They put all their money on that fight scene. It was pretty good. My only thing was like side note, it was like watching,
Suicide
Squad. Everyone got excited about Suicide Squad and it was super choppy and then nobody liked it. Same with this one. I don't think anybody was excited. Like, I didn't even know this movie was coming out.
Well, I knew for some time. Like this was of course a remake of the original one that came out in 1994.
And that became a cult classic.
That became a cult classic. It has a loyal following.
More had to do with the fact that the main actor in the original Crow tragically passed away.
Yes, Brendan Lee.
Yeah, so I think that's what got it for people, his fans, his following, to keep it going, keep it from not disappearing. Which,
yeah, I mean both films are very like dark and gothic films.
But the problem with this one,
and that's not really my style of film. Really,
I like gothic. I
really?
like horror films. That's
horror films are good, but like the feel of with this one, I think it was too much. For me, the pace was kind of slow, and it was a little too dark. And I guess it's kind of like the original. It was also dark and gothic, but for me, it was just too much. But the main actor was great.
Oh yeah,
and the fight scenes were really good.
See, I think it wasn't enough.
I think it wasn't dark enough.
It should have been darker, but the actual writing of it, like it was, you can tell they cut a lot in editing, so it was way too choppy. It went from one scene, it flip-flopped. At one point, I even turned to you and was like, "Where are they?" Because it was like I blinked and missed 20 minutes of the film.
Really?
Keep in mind, it's an hour and 51 minutes.
Yeah,
it's a pretty hefty long video.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it was like they filmed so much that they chopped huge parts where you couldn't understand at one point where they were heading. And it was but I did like the parts where he was turning into the Crow. I liked the parts of the fight scenes. I feel like that should have been more impacted more to tell the story a lot more, to tell that emotional backstory of him, of the relationship, of how he turned into the Crow. But the editing was so bad.
Yeah.
And I think it was because they filmed too much and they needed to work more on, like, for me, it's like right now, the film industry, they're filming so much that they're like, oh, we can just fix it in editing. No. You need to float. You have 2 hours at least to tell the story.
Yeah.
You can film, like, I understand you're going to cut a few things, but it's like they're filming for a 10-hour movie and chopping it down to 2 hours. That's only 20% of the movie.
Yeah, and you lose a lot of the story that way, right?
Shrink it down.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money they spent on this. I feel like they could have spent a lot more in the most of the movie. You can tell that when that fight scene showed up, that's where the money went.
I mean, apparently the budget was $50 million.
And they spent it all?
According to Wikipedia.
They used at least half of that just on that fight scene.
The fight scenes were good.
And I'm not going to lie. There were some good storytelling within the movie that we saw, but the problem is it didn't flow properly because the editing looked like it was.
I mean, yeah, like I could appreciate the premise of this movie, like the love of his life, gets murdered and he has to kind of avenge her and to kind of save her soul and all that.
It
And
almost, yeah.
I like that kind of idea.
I wanted to see more of the love story, if that's what your approach was, because literally it was like they met each other in one day and now you're the love of my life.
Yeah, that was a bit quick. It was, yeah.
I think
really
Romeo
have,
and Juliet was longer than this.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was really hoping for it. And I like the whole like goth part of the movie. Halloween's like my favorite, whatever.
Yeah.
But so side story, sorry. But like honestly, they could have done a lot more of the storytelling to like show that it was like and I heard on the radio, and I can't remember what radio station it was, but it was like Hollywood is running out of ideas, so they're going back and stealing movies that they know that they have a following, and they've been doing this for decades.
Yeah, they've been doing it forever.
But like at the end of the day, like if the first movie did so well, you have to pay homage. You have to pay homage.
Yeah. Sometimes you should leave it alone, and sometimes it's tough to redo a classic the proper way.
I recently have noticed it's mostly either Marvel or coming out of books or comics. We need to like focus more on people that are up and coming writers. Like focus more on them.
That would be great. More bringing original content. You know, like, doing original ideas, not from books or from just original movie ideas.
And I understand like reenacting like cartoons and all that stuff because but Disney. Like at the end of the day, you can't support an entire industry on remaking movies that people have like 30 plus years ago.
They've been doing it.
Like movies like The Quiet Place. It's freaking original. It's so good. They put money on somebody's idea and they made millions. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like, no, honestly, like the actors were amazing. Yeah. The characters were well made. It's just, it wasn't the story itself. They should have put more money on it.
Yeah, it does differ a bit from the original story.
Yeah.
But this was kind of a miss for me.
Yeah. The first movie, there was a reason why it did so well. It's because fans wanted to keep him alive, and that's how they watched it.
I'm guessing that is part of it, yeah.
Yeah. The story itself. Isn't it a comic? I'm pretty sure it's a comic.
It was originally a comic, yes. Yeah.
So like there were fans before that, then all that happened, and it grew in time.
I'm not sure if they're going to make any sequels. Like according to Wikipedia, it says here, according to Skarsgård, the original ending was changed by the filmmakers to invoke the possibility of a sequel.
Why would they do that?
They changed the ending a bit to...
They want a Marvel situation.
Well, everybody wants a sequel because if the first one does well, then you can make more money on the second one, right? So...
What's the percentage on Rotten Tomato? I know I don't trust them, but I want to know. I'm curious.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, it was 20%.
I see that.
It looks like 20% from critics.
Yeah.
And then 65% from like non-critics, from audience.
So from the audience, people are actually like, again, the people that are watching, I want to know how many have gone back to watch the original or had watched the original and wanted to see how they did with this one.
I'm sure a lot of it is the people like the original and just want to support this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the critics, I was reading a few reviews from the critics and it doesn't look like they like it. But I guess I still have to ask you the questions even though I know the answers. Would you buy us on DVD?
No.
No, it's a shame because like The Crow, the original was a classic. So if it was like a 2-for-1 DVD kind of bundle, I may buy it just because it did have the original one did have a big impact, and it's still remembered.
Now the soundtrack.
The soundtrack, another one. The soundtrack was that they said it was really good on the original one.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get it.
I wouldn't watch it. I'd watch the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't watch it again tomorrow if you had the chance.
No.
No. Yeah, understandable. Is that it?
Oh, yeah, I still love Skarsgård. I said it right the first time.
He was very good in it.
Oh, my God. That whole family. Brava.
He was good.
That is some sick genes right there.
All right. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think of this movie in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe.